sacrifice. Now they see you as you are.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for yet again another review recap for House of the Dragon. This is episode 6, and this is the big time jump. We didn't know how big or significant of a time jump it was, but we can confirm off rip this is 10 years moving into the forward future. So I have here the other two hosts. What's going on, gentlemen? Whoa, wait.
Gerardis.
What up? What up?
Yeah. What's up, Ant? What's going on, Ty?
What's going on?
Hey, we in here. So we got we got technically 2 new leads. So taking over for the roles of Rhaenyra and Alicent, I believe we've got Olivia Cooke for Alicent, and I don't know if I can pronounce the new Rhaenyra's first name. So I'm gonna have to ask some help from this one. Is it Emma de Cray? Is that right? Decore? I apologize if I got that name wrong. I'm so sorry. But they
I gotta see the name first. It looks like Emma Darcy.
I miss the old Rhaenyra. She did not do anything to make me not miss the old Rhaenyra. I'm gonna have a hard transition, guys.
So that was one thing that I was gonna bring up even last week, is that how's that transition gonna work? Because a lot of people were sold off of the actress that was Molly that played such a great role in the young Rhaenyra. Now it's a very different Rhaenyra because she's had a little bit of life to live. Now she is a mother of 3 now. And she's been under the thumb of Alicent. Alicent has been basically in power for the past 10 years and growing slowly closer and closer to what Otto wanted to make her be. So the dynamics are very different. They're not just estranged, they are enemies. And it's almost like a continuous thing where Alicent is making Rhaenyra an enemy. I was curious y'all's perspective on that. Like, she's pushing a lot of buttons, but she's really making Rhaenyra an actual enemy, which she doesn't really have to. But I was curious y'all's perspective on it.
I think that Rhaenyra came up with a really good plan to secure both their houses' future. Where you have to worry about half your family killing the other half for power. You just share the power. You don't have a problem like inbreeding before with brother and sister and cousin. So why not utilize that plan? And the fact that the king didn't step in and say, "Yeah, that's right. You're now, but we're going to do that. They're going to be betrothed." Like he really. The king. I've been fighting for the king's respect this whole time, and he's just really disappointed me. He's finally become the weak king they all talked about.
What about you, Jeff?
I mean, he's always really been a weak king, but the problem is hard to say. He's been a weak king, yes, but I've actually been a fan of Viserys trying to up until this point because he really is just wants to be a peaceful king.
Yeah.
But we're at the point now where Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles could see what's going down when it comes to his daughter, and he is still playing blind to it. So that kind of annoys me.
Wait, do you think it's that he's playing blind to it, or he's trying to cover his daughter? Because I took it that he was trying to cover her back. I don't think he's that dumb.
He knows what's going on.
That's why I said he's playing blind to it. I never said he was blind to it. He's playing blind to it because he knows if it ever gets solidified that his daughter was out here giving Harwin the win, he gonna have to send her to Harrenhal, and she was probably gonna catch that fire too. And what I find interesting is that some of these Targaryens don't have that, Daenerys, fire repellent, because I thought she was gonna make it. I thought the dragon was gonna help her out with that pregnancy, but we'll get to that. I'm assuming a little later, but yeah, This episode, while it had some interesting points, it really kind of just annoyed me. It was more like a here's what's happened. Let's give you an update on what's happened the last 10 years. And I was just kind of like, it's been 10 years. How is some of this stuff still going on? You know, and why is it just now happening?
Yeah, what's your take on that, Ant?
I thought he was really. Are we talking about the king, or are we talking about the 10 years stretch?
You can talk about it. We can shift to the 10 years because I got my own personal perspective on that. So we can talk about it.
So I mean, I think it's a needed time skip because you needed these factions to grow and solidify and figure out where they're being. We see these hard lines being drawn, and again, the king isn't. The king sees these, and you can tell he wants everybody to get along, but he's not stern enough to make it. You know, he ain't got that big mama energy, right? Big mama will shut down a room. Like, you know, everybody, people got that person in their family that when they speak or they soft, like you just pay respect. He don't got that. He got that grandpa. Don't worry. He's the Homer Simpson of the Targaryens at this point. No one cares about what he got to say. It's all right. It's all right, grandpa. Just here, have your jello. And he saw the bullying and the mistreatment of his grandkids, hoping that this training would put them together. But he has to set the standard for that, and he hasn't. He hasn't set the standard for or set the example that this is the expectation that y'all get together, and that I'm house first. They're on their sides first. They're not about house first, and you see these lines dividing. What do you think's going to happen when you die? Like, so the peace is only maintained while you're alive, but you're already missing an arm. They came back with that man missing an arm.
Yeah, he is missing an arm. He is. I mean,
and it's constant companion, the rat.
Yeah, that rat is like. I feel like by the end of the season, when he dies, that rat is gonna be on top of his face, like eating him, like straight up. But it's sad because I really think he's trying to keep the peace. But you can't be the king in this capacity and try to keep peace. Like you said, using the example of the kids out there training, he already knew that Aegon's been acting out. But instead of being like a legit grandpa, like, no, I'm gonna take you underneath my wing. You're gonna know what's right. Because he did that to Rhaenyra. Like Rhaenyra understood like logic. She understood history. She understood, duty because he took her under his wing, even when having her as a steward. But he's not doing that with her because he wants to keep the peace with his wife. Because his wife's out here, doing whatever he wants. And then when it comes to what's going on with his actual daughter, it's like he don't want her to die. He don't want her to get banished away. But he's not sitting there letting her know, like, yo, what's actually going on? Like, is everything okay? Like, why is this happening? Because he fully well knows what's going on. And yeah, it is very much so a weakness. It's like his heart is trying to keep the peace, but he's acting blind and it's causing more of a rift. And by the time he dies, I really don't know. Like it's getting bad.
He's also old. Like he's also old and
really
missing body parts. Like he could just be. We could give him a hard time. That man could be tired. So
he is tired. He is tired.
Be careful getting them young wives, people, because
let's keep this all the way a buck. As far as I've seen so far, none of the guys in here, none of the men in this series are exuding any form of strength, in my opinion. You've got the king, you've got the hand, you've got Rhaenyra's husband, Laenor, you've got Daemon. All these cats, when they face something hard, they back down. Honestly, it's the women in here that are showing a lot of strength. The problem I have is when the folks that are in the positions to show strength and need to show strength and need to show influence and need to step up and be men, they're not doing it. The ones that are doing it, the ones that are supposed to be, the ones that are showing form of strength, like Cole, even though he's bitter, he's still bitter after 10 years. And Harwin, who's just trying to be a father, but can't be a father because of the situation, those are the ones showing the most strength, but they're showing strength over petty BS. They're showing strength because and that's the thing, after 10 years, this chick done told you she gonna be queen. She didn't want to run away with you. So for 10 years, you holding this bitterness. Mind you, you got the queen by your side who's got your back, who's told you don't have to sacrifice yourself. Although for 10 years, this chick has been bitter with Rhaenyra because she was lied to when technically she wasn't. She swore on her mother's grave that Daemon didn't touch her. And the truth is, Daemon didn't. She didn't have to mention anything about Cole. This woman's been bitter for 10 years because she felt Rhaenyra lied to her. Rhaenyra didn't lie to her. She told her Daemon didn't touch her. She didn't have to say it was Cole that did it. And truth, Cole didn't have to say it either. But all the people that are showing strength in here are utilizing their strength over petty BS. And it's really kind of pissing me off that after 10 years, this dude Cole is still bitter. This dude Harwin can't do what he want to do except when he loses control, much like Cole did 10 years ago with the other dude.
I don't
And
say he's still a Kingsguard.
Cole's still there. Cole literally beat this dude's face into a planter's peanut 10 years ago.
At a royal wedding.
Still there. This dude is the commander of the Night Watch. My man gets out of line. He puts him in check, and he got to go back home. Hey, take your sword and everything else. He got the Angela Bassett waiting to exhale. Get your stuff, and get out. Mind you, Rhaenyra should be showing strength for the simple fact she knows she's still holding queen. As long as her father is alive, she got that. But the truth of the matter is, the minute her father dropped dead, that sucker is a challenge, but she knows she gonna have it. But instead of exerting herself to be like, look, I don't care what you say about me. I don't care what you say about me and Harwin or whatever, even though, yeah, that thing is the truth. I don't care what you say about all that. I'm queen. I'm next in line to be queen, Miss Queen. Your children, even regardless that Aegon should be next, daddy said I'm it. So she needs to be acting like that. But I think now she's given up because after 10 years, Alicent is now, because she's all bitter. I mean, this chick literally wanted the baby brought to her right after she birthed the chick. And I mean, shout out to Rhaenyra for showing strength of all that, but all that was just for you to do all that and then to turn around and go with your dragon tail between your legs to Dragonstone, that because people are talking about you, although what they're talking about you is the truth. All of this episode is really actually kind of got on my nerves and is making me mad, because all it's telling me is after 10 years, it's been two women playing pity checkers instead of playing chess. At least if they were playing some actual chess and they were two actual opponents like Daemon and Hightower, I might have been all right. But this is just people in their feelings and only showing their true strength when they mad about something, instead of actually showing their strength when it's necessary and claiming what they believe to be theirs. This isn't really a Game of Thrones. This is a pity party, and I ain't got time for that.
Yeah,
Cersei. Oh,
good.
No, I was gonna say Cersei would have ate these people alive. Cersei
Oh my God!
Gobble.
Cersei would have ate them up. Cersei would have been the true lion in the midst of the lesser beasts.
You drop Littlefinger, Cersei, Tywin into this world right there. Like they all done for. Done for.
No, I was just gonna say that right now, at this point now, what is it? Rhaenyra is like 27 or 26 years old. And at this point, she's had 3 children. Alicent has had about, like 5 or 4, technically. I really feel like what's going on with Rhaenyra is she is trapped within her choices. The choices that she made put her in the situation she's in. And it's funny because if you look full circle, who's the examples that she has around her to look towards for strength? She's looking at her dad just sitting there letting everything float through, And it's kind of like you said, like she really didn't have to sit there and take that from Alicent. Like, but she was like, I'm not gonna give her, you know, the fortitude to have my child right in that moment for it and to judge this child off of what the child looks like. But it's kind of like she's mimicking doing the same exact thing the dad's doing, just kind of putting the tail between the legs, trying to keep the peace, trying to do what's right. And at a certain point, Rhaenyra is going to get pushed. She's got it in her. She's got that Targaryen blood in her. Like when we saw that scene of her stabbing the boar, she's got it in her. But I don't think that any of these people have gone through that much tragedy just yet to turn them into what's about to happen. I think that something really bad is about to happen to Rhaenyra, and I think it's going to be connected to her kids. So I think that they're putting the pieces there to set up where the trajectory of this is going to go. I don't think that we've leveled out things just yet. And that's why I was worried about the time jump, because I was kind of like, you do a time jump, you got to reintroduce everybody just like it's square one, episode one, essentially. And that's what this episode was for me. My concern always was, are these two actors going to have that same exact atmosphere, the same exact zeal, the same exact character? I'm very surprised in the actress that plays the role of Rhaenyra. I think that she's actually doing a really good job. I think that she's got the acting capability of doing it. It's just where they take her character. If it goes the dark route that I think it's going to go, it's going to be really dope. But nothing's happened just yet. It's more so like they're laying more foundational things. But my question to you guys is, when you go 5 episodes in, this is the 6th episode, you only got a 10 episode season. Should they have done it this way? Like, is that the wrong way of handling it?
I think Allison. You want to go?
No, go ahead, Ant. You got it.
I think Allison, the actor that's playing current Allison, I think she's bringing the same energy as past Allison. So I think that was a good transition for me. Rhaenyra just didn't sell it for me, and I'm not sure why yet. But I just didn't get the same energy or the same defiance, the same strength, I guess, that I got from this one. Just do what I say because I'm princess type of thing. And when that doesn't work with someone as an outstation, like I feel like past Rhaenyra, like younger Rhaenyra would have been like, no, tell her to come to me. Like, what you gonna do? And I didn't really get that. Also, one thing that was said before about the strength, I think the current hand of the king, the crispy one, I think he did have a lot of strength. I think he was somebody that was set in their morals, not set, that's the wrong word. He was strong in his morals and his character, right? Because everybody else used situations to their advantage. And technically he was winning, right? Three or four of his heirs or like bloodline has got to be in the succession. Any other character would have tried to maneuver so they were safe, right? Right, best man in the show. They would have maneuvered so he was safe. He was like, "Nah, this ain't right. My family is disgraced your family, and this other upburst. I gotta go. I cannot do my job where I can't be unbiased towards that. I think that takes a lot of strength. A lot of like, I don't know if I could have done that. I don't know if I could have let my blood grandchildren fend for themselves in a dangerous situation like this, or renounce my title knowing that I couldn't be unbiased. You get what I'm saying? That might not sound clear.
No,
like,
I get it.
I hear what you're saying, and I mean, I'm not taking away from Lord Strong. You know, I think out of all the characters, he is one of the better ones. He's been consistent since before the jump. My thing is though is he's basically another Hightower. He's just the other side of the coin. You know, the hand of the king, Hightower, did everything he could do to get his daughter with the king, so his children, so his blood could be to the crown. You know, now through his son has now done the things that have actually put his grandchildren in line for the crown.
But I think
even though
I think that's against his will. I don't think he.
I know that. I know that's against his will, right? But that dude's not blind. that dude's not blind. Like Allison said, one of them you could brush off. 3 of them is an insult, you know. And while I understand that's the queen, he needed to check his son and be like, hey, you are putting this family in jeopardy. You know, if you want to command your Night's Watch and drop, you need to drop your sword somewhere else. You know, I'm just saying. But he didn't do that. And now he's in this position where I give him credit for wanting to go retire his post because of his because he was in a compromising position. But the thing was, whether he kept his post or not, he was in a compromising position anyway. Because if he retired his post and said what he said, the king clearly would have spared his daughter and his grandchildren, but he would have sent them off somewhere, which meant that, and that's what Alicent wants, because once he does that, he has to take the title from Rhaenyra and give it to Aegon, which is what she wants. And she wants it plain and clear as day because she wants somebody to just say it. She wants somebody to say, Harwin has been sleeping with Rhaenyra and they got 3 kids together, right? That's what she wants. But at the same time, he can't do that because he's not only protecting his son, he's also protecting his grandchildren, you know. But by the simple fact of him now leaving to take his son back to Harrenhal, he now knows his son can't be near his children, and he is now not there in the moment to protect them. And the thing that bugs me too is, how are you have such foresight and great advice and be the true person that sees everything as the hand of the king, but not see the other son you have that is so deeply ingrained that he can actually hire killers and cut their tongue out to come kill you and your son, kill basically his father and his brother. How you missed that? That's what's
so.
Well,
that was something that I know that Ant wanted to talk about, and so I think that'd be a really good transition point.
But I gotta reply to this a little bit. So I don't think it was just that he wanted to separate himself from all this thing. I think he realized if he acknowledged that, that's war. He is stopping war from the kingdom. And he is somebody that I think has put the kingdom and his duty first. Every time we've seen it, it has not been his personal thing first. He has put the kingdom and his duty first. I think that's what made him a strong guy. So I think if he had said what everybody knows, he knows that leads to war. And the best thing he could do with his honor was take himself out the equation. I think because we saw him yell at his son, like, "What are you doing?" I don't think that's the first time they had that conversation.
I agree.
I think he just couldn't do anything about it. And as far as seeing the other son, I mean, he's not the first parent not to see what their child is capable of, especially when you put money, power, politics, and all that other stuff into it. He's not the first person, right? He's not even the first person on this show. He's not even the 5th person on this show not to see what their son is capable of. So, I don't know. I get what you're saying. He could have done a more active top thing to kind of stem this, or maybe, I guess in a different way I would say, your family messed this up. You gotta take responsibility to put this to limit the damage. Yeah, but the same.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I agree with you, Ant. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not taking away from Lord Strong at all. This dude right here, though, he's the one that needs to be drawn. This dude needs to be drawn and quartered. I don't know what Lord Strong had done to him as a kid growing up with feeble bones and whatever, or maybe he just disregarded him because Harwin was the son he wanted, and this dude ain't come out the same or whatever. But at some point, if you know what you've been doing with your children, you've seen how they grow, you know what they're capable of. Harwin has all the strength and stuff that Lord Strong required, but this one here, Breakbones, he's got his father's mind and observance, but he also has a level of evil that I don't even think any of them saw. But the thing that gets me is, I'm not taking away from Lord Strong. But the issue I have really right now is why I say no one is really kind of showing strength at the moment, at least that necessary strength, is because everybody's basically run away. Daemon's in Pentos. All of that stuff that just happened, Rhaenyra now is going to Dragonstone, ironically doing the same steps that her uncle did. You know, King Viserys is running away from the situation, although I understand his purpose. He's trying to protect his daughter, you know. And for the last 10 years, I won't take it away from Rhaenyra. She's been basically getting browbeat by Alicent. And I'm still kind of pissed off with their whole thing because Alicent wasn't lied to. That's the thing that gets me.
Yeah.
Alicent wasn't lied to.
I'm looking at this picture, and all I can think of, they called me Mr. Glass.
Yeah.
Like this Mr. Glass, purple wig, mofo. You know, I didn't remember him 10 years ago, but he came out like, look, I am a player in this thing. I don't even know why I'm doing this. What is my end goal? Did he want Harrenhal? Did he say he wanted Harrenhal?
Yeah.
But this is my thing. So he went down to the Black Cells. Does he have a position in court to do this? I don't know what his position is. But he went down to the Black Cells.
He is the son of the hand of the king. That's what all I've seen.
So you get some killers, right? They let them go, and you're going to cut off your tongue. I get it. Most people can't read and write, so you cut off their tongue, they probably can't say anything, right? Then you give them an emblem on their cloaks representing your thing, and then they get into a fortress to burn a particular section of a room, and I needed to see the logistics of this plan work out. All you showed me was some killers and then the fire. I get what happened. I just don't believe it happened. You got to show me some. You took a bunch of random criminals to do this, to break into one of the most heavily fortified places in the Seven Kingdoms. That seemed kind of off to me. I don't know. That kind of threw me out of it. I just needed to see it. Y'all need to spend a little bit more money to show me this.
I'll say this. That whole particular scenario is probably the one thing I actually liked because it made Alicent aware of when you play the Game of Thrones, you might just bite off more than you can chew. You may go too far. They called me Mr. Glass.
but again, I like the setup. I like the setup of like, I didn't ask you to do this. Yeah, you did. I'm sure you remember me. I didn't want this. You know? But again, they got into Harrenhal, got to the Lord's chamber, was able to bar the doors apparently, separate the rooms. Like, and the king's chamber and the son's chamber were next to each other. Like, I don't really get the logistics, and that's why I brought up.
I mean, but it looked like they burnt down the whole entire thing. It didn't look like. I mean, I think they definitely barred the doors, but it looked like they burned the whole entire thing down because once everything was done, everybody was crispy around the area.
Harrenhal is the largest castle ever made in Westeros. Like, you could fit like 3 of the other, like Winterfell, the Rock. You could put all of them in the Harrenhal. Harrenhal is huge for no goddamn reason. There's no way. Like, there's. All right, that's my nerdy logistics. I
thought the eventual end of Harrenhal, if I remember correctly, in Game of Thrones, was that a dragon, I guess during the Dance of Dragons, burned the whole thing to a crisp.
No, originally Harrenhal took the guy. I think he was. I could be messing up, but I think he was one of the Greyjoys. That place. He was one of the Iron Island people.
Mm-hmm,
Took over the Riverlands, built this castle. The day it was done, because it was this huge castle for no reason, that's when Aegon started invading Westeros. And after the Lannisters' army got melted and the Green Hands fell and then the Martells came in, Harrenhal was like, I'm going to meet you in Keyfield, but you can't do anything in my castle. So the castle doesn't burn. It's stone. And what it is, though, so even Dragonfire couldn't get through it, but it turned it into an oven, and they baked them alive. Like, they cooked them alive in the castle. So the stones kind of melted, but they didn't burn. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah. You can't burn Harrenhal down. If Dragonfire can't burn Harrenhal, there's no way.
whatever that location was, I only saw wood. I didn't see any stone at all. All I saw was just wood all over the place, burnt
No,
wood everywhere.
I saw the walls. The walls were stoned. The truth of the matter is they weren't trying to really burn down Harrenhal. They were paid to take out Harwin and his father.
Yeah.
And that's really and they succeeded. But
Yeah.
I think
it's a small point. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really. Yeah, I'm with you,
and
it's
just stuck on my. It's just stuck with me.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
it doesn't really matter. But I think out of this whole episode, that's probably the highlight because, Breakbones has now kind of really spread his wings, if you will, and shown you how evil he can really be. And I think he's had some deep-seated daddy and brother issues that we might have caught hints of in earlier episodes, but now it's kind of come up. But I think Alicent now realizes that she is now, quote unquote, in bed with someone she shouldn't be in bed with. But this is what happens.
Got kind of lower.
Right. Right. But this is what happens when you play the Game of Thrones.
Also, she drew first blood. Alicent is drawn. Well, we were talking about who's going to draw first blood. I thought it might be Rhaenyra. It was Alicent. Alicent killed your baby daddy, your baby's daddy. Like, you drew first blood, so the stakes just got. Because remember, I think we all talked about this before. Like they were kind of in this, like we were friends. We kind of, but now, like death has become an equation. Like death has happened in the war. This is no longer a Cold War type of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
but the question is, what is Rhaenyra gonna do about it? Because she can't really openly admit that that's her children's father.
I mean, I don't think she has to necessarily do anything about it. I think that she can, instead of being passive, she can start to like buck up, because I think that's what's going to end up happening, because she's gonna have to go on the bucking side, because she has to protect her children now. Because it's like, oh, okay, they didn't sit there and kill the Hand of the King and my baby daddy, and they know, everybody pretty much knows. Okay, bet I know where this is coming from. I know who could have put this up to that. She's smart, so I think that's why I said that Alicent is making an enemy of somebody she doesn't have to. Somebody that honestly could destroy everything she's trying to build. And Otto, it's almost weird. Like Otto created a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I really feel like Otto hired Strong's son to get into Alicent's head and to kind of be there this whole entire time. And the weird thing about it is kind of like, if you think about, why would this guy do this to his own, father and brother? What does he have to gain by having Alicent's, father come back in as the Hand King? Because that's what it was really for. He was like, oh, now you can get your dad back. That's all he was wanting. That's all he cared about. But he was kind of like, you're going to owe me a favor too. So it's like, if he was willing to kill his own flesh and blood over that, yeah, she has been set up from the very beginning. This is all Otto.
There's no guarantee there's still no guarantee that her father can come back. The king has to make that decision.
I mean, but Alicent's been getting everything she wants,
and she's messing up over pettiness, right? Because I like that the show gave us the perfect solution that would have saved your house for the next 1,000 years. Hey, why don't we just marry these two families together? Because we're two separate lineages. Marry them together. Everybody rules. Your family gets to be royalty. My family gets to be royalty, and we're all safe. Nobody has to be killed. No, the line of succession is secure. We're all good, and hurt feelings. So we saw the solution. The perfect solution was presented to us right there, and they're right. The weakness of the king, that 10-year-old butthurt from Alicent. And Rhaenyra not actually fighting for it. So I guess maybe Rhaenyra just lost a spark somewhere. And that's fine. It happens as you get older and you got kids and things like that.
I think the kids is really what is kind of like transformed her emotionally and mentally. It's kind of like... Okay.
No, I keep interrupting you. I was just saying her biggest mistake, though, was you don't leave the seat of power when succession's on the line. Like, you don't leave the capital and the seat of power when your daddy's falling apart and secession is a question. And that's just me. Unless you're giving up and you run away.
Well, I mean, I think here's the thing. I think that what has just now happened will cause that change. I agree with Sam on that. However, I think the change will be the change will be too little too late, because eventually, if you watch Game of Thrones the way everybody has watched Game of Thrones, really watch Game of Thrones, you already know what happens to Rhaenyra. So, sad to say. But the truth of the matter is, this is going to be the shift where she probably starts to bring that young Rhaenyra back. If for nothing else, for her children.
Mm-hmm.
The question that will come in, though, is it too little too late? Will she actually sit on the throne? Will she actually be queen? Will she actually inherit the titles that her father's passed on to her? I am not sure if that's going to be the case, or at least she will. If she does, it'll be for a short time, which will eventually lead to that dance of dragons, and then, it is what it is. But I think it might. I think this is definitely where the tides change, though, for sure.
Yeah, real quick, just go ahead.
I keep doing this. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
What's up?
Gotta tell you, the best piece of writing for me this whole episode is when, I don't know if y'all experienced this yet, but when your kid hits you with a random question you were prepared for, like, hey, is so strong my daddy? Wait, what? Who around? Boy, I don't know. I was not prepared for this yet.
Is that my puppy?
Yeah, she was looking around to make sure the other kids weren't listening. Straight up.
Right.
When your kid hit you with a question that you was like you weren't ready for, that was the perfect scene for me in this whole episode.
She pulled the Key and Peele. I looked my child in his optic scans and said, I said, boy, bring your butt in here.
and then even the kid looked there like, because we've all been that kid when an adult gave you a BS answer, like, you ain't answer the question. Like, you ain't. All right.
They get the screw face because they know the answer was trash.
Right. You're the Targaryen. You're a Targaryen. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm just because we got to transition to one last thing before we close out. I will say I don't think the kids are gonna make it through the season. I think that there's gonna be something real tragic that's gonna happen with them, only because something else has to happen, in my opinion. But the transition is going to Daemon, so it's a 10-year jump for Daemon, and Daemon kind of is living it up. Like, he's chilling, got his 2 dragons, got his wife, got a couple kids. He got some gold coming to him, and like his wife is kind of like, "Yo, wait, who are you?" Like, we're just sitting there, just dragon riders, and everything's cool. And he's like, "Yo, we getting paid for this. Like, I can chill." She's like, "Why are you sitting there in the library looking at all these tales? Well, like, you're not being the ambitious person that I married." And he kind of seemed like he's chilling with the kids, but he's not really there. It's almost as though he's what's the word? He's in neutral. Like, he's just settling for right now. It's like weird because he's that type of character, though. You never really know what's going on in his head. Like, you're kind of like, maybe he's playing the long game, or maybe he's chilling, or maybe he's chilling until the long game is about to start back up again. I really don't know. I think Matt's doing a really good job acting in this role, because I don't really know. His expressions sometimes is just emotionless, and then at times his verbiage is like, yeah, this, I'm still the same person kind of thing. But his wife is kind of trying to tell him, look, you need to do this and you do that. And all of a sudden, the back half of the episode, she starts having issues with childbirth. Child's not coming. And he was like, I'm not making the same decision my brother made. I'm not doing it. And he was like, if it's going to kill my wife, I'm not going to do it. And she was like a buck. She was like, I'm not. She just ran off. And I was like, what's going on? And then she's trying to burn herself alive with the dragon. That was really emotional. I was kind of like, dang. But just as far as this side of the episode and just Daemon's arc, because he had a little bit of a transformation as well. And I think this is one of the most emotional moments that he's had. He didn't really know how to react to it. But I was curious y'all's perspective on it real quick so we can close this out.
Go ahead, Ant.
Uh, so he's kind of checked out and muted. I almost got this feel of like when Batman retires, the Joker kind of goes dormant. Like his plans for Nair and everything was like that. And when that didn't happen, he was gone. He's kind of all right, it's muted. And I think what's the chaos once he starts hearing them drums again, for all you Doctor Who fans, then when he starts hearing the drum again, he's gonna be like, oh yes, yeah, this is my time. We going to war, baby. I think he's gonna go that. And I think it was very interesting that she was like, this isn't you. Where's the rebel and the flaunting authority kind of guy who that didn't want the easy life. But she also made a good point that he's not really relating to his daughters either. And that walk away point when he didn't console them. He kind of like, yeah, I know this is suck, but I just really can't gather the feelings to care about this. So I'm gonna go. And he seemed like he knew he had to run after his wife, and he didn't want to kill her. Like I think for what he was capable of, I think he could care for her, but he still didn't love her. I was interested what they were gonna do with her. Like that was a really interesting scene where she was trying to get the dragon to burn her, and. I know that in the books, Dany's fire immunity is only limited to certain situations. It's not like the full thing the show did. But the show put that in there, so I was wondering was she planning on like because she's not the blood of like she does. Well, no, they are dragon riders. I don't know. I thought maybe she was gonna burn and then the baby was gonna be left alive for some reason. Out the ashes, and I was like, "Oh, that'd be a cool little scene." But they no straight. She just didn't want to deal with this pain anymore, and that was I like seeing how they animated the dragon like hesitating. Like the dragon was like, "Nah, but burn what you?
Like,
Nah,
what are you talking about?
like,
No, Mom, I'm not gonna do that."
Like,
Right.
And even especially, he looked like, "Oh man, that happened. I didn't expect that," but he didn't like look like he was in pain that it happened. If that makes sense. So I imagine I think we all think this. When the king dies, that's going to be the final, like the match that lights that haystack. You know what I mean? I think that's going to be I think everybody's in position that they all wake up and start acting out of that survival mode. Because I think he left Rhaenyra, and he's going to know that Rhaenyra is in trouble once the king dies.
Yeah, that's true because he also brought up the fact of her children. He was like, she's still, sitting there popping out these kids with this other. I was like, dang, damn, you sound bitter about that thing. But Ty, what are your final thoughts on just, Daemon living a lavish life and where his character's going?
First, shout out to her for going hard. Although I was really hoping she was the one that had that rare thing where fire, she's immune to it, and it was just going to help her child with the birth or something. I really didn't want her to go. I think for me, Daemon has kind of given up and he's biding his time. It's like a combination. Like he acts like he conducts himself as he is just given up and he is just settled, like Ant said, into this life he has. But I think he's just a beast resting in hibernation. Like the minute his brother goes and the minute Alicent or whomever tries to make that move on Rhaenyra, he's going to rear his ugly head and go ham, and Daemon, I'm so impressed with Matt Smith, the way he conducts himself as a character. It's just, you just can't really lock him down really. And that's one of the things I love about his character. But here was someone he actually had. And this is the funny thing. This is kind of the typical story. You get someone who wants to be with you, who has complete faith in you and knows how you are and sees in you what they fell in love with, what you brought to them in the beginning. And here you are being something completely different from what you are, yet they still stand by you, still stand by your side. And instead of giving you the harsh decision of whether you take the risk of killing her to save the child or what have you, she was like, I got you. I'm going to just handle this and I'm going to roll, and even have enough faith as a mother to do that he would even take care of her kids, even though her kid already told her, Daddy ignores me.
Right.
And then I'm also wondering if the same daughter that she was talking to that says Daddy ignores me is going to end up riding her mother's dragon in the future, you know, because I think she may actually take her mother's words to heart and earn her place as a dragon rider riding her mother's dragon. So, but as far as Daemon goes, I'm looking forward. He's probably one of the few characters in the series I'm looking forward to see what happens, because he still intrigues me, even when he looks like he is thrown in the towel. And if for nothing else, it's the same. It's just watching Rhaenyra do things that Daemon has done before. Go to Dragonstone, basically hide in Dragonstone, and even though he still tried to pull some stuff, he still hid in Dragonstone for a while. So she's kind of now doing kind of the same thing, and I want to see if she's going to follow the same path as her uncle and pull some stuff out the side of her, you know, out the side of her arm for these cats, you know. But all in all, I think Matt Smith's character and what he's done in this episode was really good. I just unfortunately don't think it was enough to save this episode for me. Like you said, Sam, this was a reboot. This was, let's introduce all these folks again. And after 10 years, I'm kind of like, we still in the same place.
I feel like if they wanted to do this, maybe they should have had enough story where they push those young actresses to the age limit that we could go, maybe like 26, 27, and finish off the season with them, and then we do the time
Crown.
jump. Yeah, and go from there. And like you said, The Crown did an excellent job with that. And
yes,
when we got introduced to the new characters, or the new actors playing aged characters, I didn't miss a beat. You know what I mean? I was just like, this is a new time in their life going forward, because it's almost like I'm starting season, like another show at this point, or another season at this point, and I didn't get the end of the last season. If that makes sense.
Yeah, there's animes that do this all the time, where this mid-season like full jump. And sometimes some animes can pull it off because there's something epic that happens to transition it. And then there's some where it's like, this is a little lackluster, like I'm starting a brand new show up. I think Tokyo Ghoul did that around the third season. It was just like randomly like, well, this is a whole new show, what's going on? But no, I mean, for me, I actually really dug the episode. I think I was preparing myself to just not like it because of the new characters and then this huge time jump, because I didn't know how much of a time jump it was going to be. So for me, I actually really dug it. I love that the characters in this displaced form to ramp them into where they're going to be. So I think that it's building anticipation for me with each character when this civil war is about to begin, because now even more so than that, I was kind of like, okay, well, Aegon, he's going to be kind of cool, you know, but nah, Aegon's a whole jerk and he's a bully and I don't like him off rip, even though he's a Doctor Who son. But it's just interesting to see where they're taking it. But yeah, we'll talk about it more next time. We'll see what episode 7 brings. Yeah, any closing thoughts before we close this out?
It's kind of like the first half of the season. All right, first episode, not a lot happened. We're building. We really get a war, and we're like, and then it's like, shoot, like we like straight, and now it's like we got to build again in the middle of the season, and nothing happened. I really think if they had structured maybe that war on the steps as a centerpiece, we could have just finished it off with that, and then transitioned, or maybe the king dies and we like, I don't know, but it just seems a little wonky. I feel like a little wonky. I don't know.
We already knew that the time jumps were going to be a bit of an issue, but I think for me, it's not even the time jumps, and it's not even because of the new actors or actresses that are playing the roles of folks we've already kind of clinged to. It's just the fact that this episode, to be honest, really didn't do much for me. I mean, it lets us know where they are, but at the same time, my thing is this: in 10 years, if this is supposed to be actual Game of Thrones, and Alicent was really trying to go that hard, she would have taken care of Rhaenyra and them kids a while ago. But the simple fact of what Breakbones did, and she's like, oh, this isn't what I wanted and all that. I'm like, well, what did you think was going to happen? What did you think was needed to be done? Because the truth of the matter is, you just want what you feel you rightfully deserve, your son on the throne. But what do you think you would need to do that? You can't try to play hard and then don't play hard ball when it's time to. But look, I don't know. This episode just didn't really do it for me. It just didn't.
If I came in and you knew my war colors were red, and it's like, oh, Anthony came in the red. He must be after JVS. He must be have to take out Sam. And Sam came in purple. He about to go to war. And they just paused, and 10 years later, nothing happened.
Exactly.
That's a big pause. That's a big.
Exactly.
I'd have been poisoned Sam. I ain't waiting 10 years to poison Sam or stab him to death. I haven't thought about this at all, Sam. Put him in my truck, drive him down south, roll into the ocean. I haven't thought about,
this
you beat me one too many times, Sam. You beat me one too many times. I'm not bitter, but I don't wait 10 years for my revenge. So,
but actually, you kind of inadvertently hit the nail on the head. You're literally
coming. He ain't say you was ever going to leave again, Mr. Gold. So, but, are y'all interested? Are y'all still hyped about when it's going to come together, though? Are y'all hyped when the division, like when we see this? Because they're getting more dragons. We're getting more dragon riders. We about to get some aerial
I've
combat.
said it before, and I will say it again. Episode 9 better come hard. That's Game of Thrones tradition. They better bring it.
Are we going to see that move that Daemon's wife did, where she like put the puff of like fire in the air and he had to fly through it, and kind of like are we going to see some cool aerial combat stuff?
I mean, this is the weird thing about this episode. As much as everything else is kind of like foundational, this is the most dragons in this episode. Like, we interacted with dragons more in this episode than in the rest of them. Little dragons, big dragons, aerial stuff that's going on. There was a lot of dragon involvement in this episode,
and it didn't do anything. It didn't do anything for me for the episode. It was cool to see the dragons, but you can't hide behind that if you're trying to provide good story, especially coming off of a 10-year jump. It just didn't do anything for me. The dragons were nice to look at; they were cool, but you basically turned Daemon and his wife into the Flying Graysons because they were basically doing circus tricks for the people of Pentos. And then, they basically now turn from that to the mercenaries because they need help. Basically, it's, Ghost Recon for them. And you're not giving me anything with this. You're just reintroducing people and telling us that, oh, everybody's bitter, everybody's salty, but everybody's in their corner because nobody's willing to make the move. The fact that Breakbones is the hardest cat in the episode bugs me.
No, the hardest cat was that little boy tried to tell the dragon what to do. The dragon was like, "You got a heart, little kid. You got a little heart, but you're still a bit."
Take us out.
We're gonna go, you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed our discussion. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell button, and we'll be back talking about more of them dragons. All right, y'all. Peace.
Filing out the top of I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline. Ain't nothing on my mind. Oh Lord.